Hey guys, welcome back to Titanium Man Garage. And today I'm going to do a little overview on axle shafts. If you saw my short, I made a quick video on how I snapped my front axle shaft plowing. And I had since replaced it with a used one. I had a couple parts machines laying around, so I robbed one off of there. At the time, I didn't know why it snapped. I personally have never snapped axle shaft myself. I've bought a lot of ATVs with the axle shaft snap, and I never really knew quite why. I guess I've never done it before. So let me show you what I found. So here's the old one, and in here was pretty tight. But the main thing I found was the previous owner, there's a grease zerk right here by the U-joint, right here. And this thing is stiff, it won't even move. So basically when it spun, it was fighting it and going like that and reaming out the end of the shaft. So that's why that snapped. My boot was in good shape. I didn't think there was any issues with that. Turned out to be the U-joint. So I also went and replaced the rear on this unit because the boot was torn right there. So what I tried to do just temporarily so I could plow with this thing with the blizzard coming was I just grabbed a grease gun and just shoved a bunch of grease in there. It did kind of help the problem, but it was clicking. It was making this clicking noise. So in there it was pretty beat up. Once again, I had a used rear axle shaft and I installed that last night. But yeah, it's just a little FYI, you know, keep an eye on rip boots because dirt will get inside of there. And with these older units, this is a 2000. One thing I like about the older units compared to the new ones is they have grease zerks everywhere. So if you keep this thing greased up really decent, it'll last a long time. There's a grease zerk here. I know you can't see them with the wheels on, but you took the wheels off on both sides to be able to grease these up. There's one on each side. On the prop shaft going to the transmission, or from the transmission to the front drive, there's a grease zerk in there. This U-joint's actually getting a little worn, so I'm going to replace that. So I'm not showing you a video of how I'm replacing these. I actually have older videos that are probably 2 years old on how to replace the front and the rear. And I'll add links to this video so you can see how it's done. For me, part of the reason I didn't record me doing this front axle shaft is I had a problem with this nut. And I ended up having to replace the ball joint. This nut would just spin on the shaft and I couldn't get it off. So I ended up taking a grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I cut the side of the bolt, popped it off, cleaned the threads, put a new U-joint in and installed it all. Otherwise I couldn't get it. Also, a lot of guys ask, how do you get the roll pin out of there? Let me show you something. All right, this is a parts machine I have laying here. So a lot of guys have issues popping these pins out, and I actually had a really hard time getting that one. I couldn't even get it off. It was rusted on so tight. But most of the times what I do is I got a setup like this. My air hammer, and I took a bolt and I just ground it down. and I put it in a socket. And then I put that on there. I push that in there and use the air hammer, and it pops right out about 80% of the time, 90% of the time. So I use this gun first. Just get it to move. Hit it with the air, get the pin to move, kind of like what I did here. And then use your homemade pin and socket to drive it the rest of the way out. If it's not rusted tight like this one is, they normally come out pretty decent. And that's how I got that one out. That one was pretty easy. So I got this bad boy back rolling again. She runs good, doesn't click anymore, steers good, four-wheel drive works. Probably see my previous video on how I replaced the brake pads and the rotors. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, when I got this machine, it was really clean. The frame's clean. There's no rust anywhere on it. It's unfortunate that the guy just, didn't lube anything up, because, axle shafts are gone, the hubs are gone, he never replaced the brake pads. Also, I rebuilt the motor on this thing. Well, kid owned it. What do you expect? He's still got to learn. Hopefully he'll watch my videos and learn more on his next unit. All right, guys. Hope you like my little overview, and I'll add links. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I've got over 250 to 300 videos on how to repair your older Polaris. Give my channel a look over, and probably be able to help you out with any issues you got. All right, guys. Till next time.